What's going on, guys? This is Javier with Boulder Media Radio. Coming live from the dungeon in our basement, and this is our second episode for Boulder Media Radio that we've launched. I know I've had some people actually tune in, which is really cool, and have asked me, how can I start listening to you on podcasts? And I've got to get all that organized. So if you guys are interested in getting into our podcast, we are going to be setting that up. We have to make sure we find a podcasting hosting company to make sure they can host all of our podcasts, as well as get it pre-approved, if you will, by iTunes, and then also get it onto Google Play as well. So if you guys have been watching me on just regular live shows on Facebook, that's great. I'm going to be distributing this as well too in other areas where we'll be putting this in obviously Facebook, Instagram. Now they have their 60-minute TV shows, if you will, so we'll be doing that kind of stuff, which will be really cool. And YouTube, we'll be podcasting, so we're going to be distributing this stuff a lot. We're actually in the midst of getting our logo design by a friend of mine. And essentially, I kind of been hesitant about what I wanted to do as far as logos and color schemes and stuff like that. And say, hey, what's up, Jorge? So, anyways, what I wanted to kind of just tell you is that yes, we just started, but we are pushing to start putting some content out there. So I've got a lot of topics that are going to be going on over the next few weeks that I've sat down and kind of brainstormed and thought would be really cool to talk about. And so today's topic is the benefits of learning from your competitors. Should you watch your competition? I will tell you that there is, to a degree, there's really nothing wrong with watching what your competitors do or say or anything like that. And so I guess the best way I can actually kind of explain this to you guys is whenever you have competition, you shouldn't be focusing strictly on them, but you should always be kind of seeing what they're doing. They should be in the back of your mind. They should be They basically should be essentially there to kind of guide you in a sense of what direction you want to go or you want to move. But you shouldn't mimic all their moves and you shouldn't be watching them every single time. You should be focusing on you. So I'll make this very, very clear to all of you guys that are watching. When I was running my brick and mortar business, and even today, I don't sit here and watch all of my competitors and see what they do. I focus on me. I focus on what my business provides, what we can do to help, that sort of stuff. Does that sort of make sense? So with that said, what I want kind of go over is what can you learn from your competitors? Okay, because we could always learn something from everybody, guys. And so that is the world of business. And I guess the best way I can put it is I watch NFL football, okay, and they always talk about that football is a copycat league. One coach will come out with this new type of system, and then next thing you know, everyone is kind of doing it. Remember, it was 2006 or 7 when the Wildcat was big, and it was ran by Ricky Williams out of Miami. And they ran the Wildcat formation, and it was like, oh my God. And then everyone started running Wildcats. They were running their own versions of the Wildcats. And it's not like they were doing every single play, but it was in the playbook. Same thing with the play actions. That's always been kind of a copycat thing. Or read options. That's a big thing as well too over the past few years. The read options, getting a read option quarterback and stuff like that. My point being is that to a degree, there's nothing wrong with having competition around you, and then seeing what they do and mimic or come up with your own design from it. Okay, so let me go over my stuff that I have. So number one is you want to see your competition strategy and approach. You got to accept it for what it is. Okay, watch what they're doing, pay attention to what they're doing, and just kind of have an idea, okay? And what I mean by this is that whatever niche or industry that you're in, they should be in the rearview mirror, if you will. So, how I like to explain this is like you know of your competition, but you don't pay attention with your competition. So, like whenever we'd have people call about our program and they'd ask about our business, and like, well, so and so is offering this, and I'd always say, or so and so makes you have to, sign like a 3-year contract or whatever, and I would always follow up with, I don't pay attention to what our competitors do. We don't badmouth our competition. We like to focus on us and delivering the best service possible to our clients. And usually that kind of answer always helped. But don't get me wrong. I knew what they were doing, and I knew exactly how they would market or how they would sell or what their reputation was. Do you see what's going on? I knew what was going on, and I didn't make my ads to basically go against what they did. So like, an example is like I didn't make my ad say, we don't have any contracts or anything like that, or we're cheaper than the competitors. Do you see what's going on? Like trying to almost say like, call out the other competition. I never made my ads that way. And I'm not saying there's something wrong with making your ads like that. I'm not implying that. I personally I didn't want to go that route. I wanted to focus on delivering service and value, okay? So you should be seeing what your competition's strategy is and what their approach is. And what that does is it allows you to kind of start shaping and molding what you want your business to look like, okay? And especially if you're in the beginning stages. If you're in the beginning stages of starting up your business, sometimes finding your business's identity is really difficult, okay? And the reason I say that it's difficult to find your business's identity is because, like, you might have a personal identity, and like maybe a partner or whatever might have a personal identity, but like you have to come up with an identity for your business, one that is different and unique. And so what I'm getting to is that you guys want to make sure that when you are, I guess, figuring out what your business is about and all of that stuff, you want to make sure that your business's identity is, sorry, I was putting my phone on airplane mode so that we can still film, but not get phone calls. So when you're finding out your identity, like you need to make sure like what you stand for, what are the things that you believe in. And a lot of this stuff helps is like creating, mission statements and creating, like an identity where you sit down and you write down like your business values and stuff like that. All those things are good. But by seeing what your competition is doing, you see what their strategies and their approach is. And then what you want to do is you want to see what all the other competitors are doing and think about it. Do the opposite. Okay? So like if everyone is offering, I don't know, dollar cheeseburgers, okay? Everyone's offering dollar cheeseburgers. You're like, man, those are cheap cheeseburgers, and our business can't afford to do dollar cheeseburgers. You know what? I'm gonna charge $1.50, but I'm gonna add more value to it. I'm gonna add this, and this, or whatever. Do you see what's happening now? So if your competition is doing one way or approach, you look at what they're doing, and if everyone's kind of doing it, along the same lines, then you literally go against the grain, because most people, if you're like me, you're like, it's the same offer like everybody else, It's at that point is like, it's who do you like? And all of a sudden you see something a little different, you're like, it's a little bit more expensive, but they're adding this and this and this and this, and I'd be willing to give that a shot. Do you see what's going on? So by watching your competition and their approach, it can give you an identity. It can allow you to see, hey, what's up, Matt? It can allow you to see what your businesses are doing, but more importantly, it can give you a strategy on how you want to approach your business. So again, it's good to get guidance, all right? Second thing is can you do better? Can you improve or create your own version of it? So, whatever your competition is doing, can you improve upon it? And this is a great example is UPS and FedEx, right? I believe FedEx was first when they came out with the whole concept, because the CEO at the time, which I'm not sure if he's actually, I think his name's Fred Smith. I'm not sure if he's the actual CEO today, but he wrote a business plan about delivering packages overnight and all this other stuff, and dude got a C on his paper. And like his professor's like, this would never work. This is a horrible idea, and like ripped him apart. I mean, it was bad. And so like he got a C on the paper, and then Fred Smith is like, screw you, I'm making this thing work, and created Federal Express. And now like FedEx is like it's a home brand name, if you will. You know, like whenever you need something overnight, just FedEx it, man. Just send it overnight. FedEx it. Right? And then UPS came into the picture. And are we still connected? Hold on a sec, guys. I feel like... All right, we're still connected. Just my screen just stopped, and I wasn't sure what was going on. So, anyways, UPS comes into the picture. And they basically added competition to it, and they had a different spin. And now, don't get me wrong, guys. Like they both kind of offer the same thing. There's certain things that they do, but their strategies on certain aspects, they're trying to improve upon off of each other. If you will, like, well, we do this better than this, and we charge less than that, and do you see what's going on? So, can you improve upon that? Another example is Wendy's. Okay, Wendy's is in the same business as McDonald's. Excuse me, Taco Bell, believe it or not, Burger King, Sonic, like those types of places. One thing that Wendy's strives about is having unfrozen cheeseburgers or unfrozen burgers. Their patties are unfrozen, and you're like, well, how do you ship unfrozen meat everywhere? You have a giant refrigerator is what you have, okay, and you just drive it, and you just know what your supply is. So they wanted to be in the hamburger business. They're like, well, how do we compete with all these other big players? We'll say we have the freshest hamburger meats. So they improved upon what everyone else was doing. Do you see what's going on here? So by watching your competition, you can learn and find ways to improve and do better. It's always important to make sure that you guys are looking at your competition and seeing what can you do better than them. But you never call them out. Like that's something that you want to understand, is that like you don't want to think about copying what they do, because there is a ethical way of running and conducting a business. There are some moral standards that are unwritten morals, if you like moral standards, if you will, but that you just don't do. You know, and so I don't believe in copying what everyone else is doing. I believe in improving upon that, okay? And if you think that's wrong, how do you think sports has evolved? How do you think business has evolved? How do you think the family dynamics have evolved? How do you think communication has evolved? Like, 10 years ago, I mean, podcasting, you could have still done it, but 10 years ago, I wouldn't be doing videos like this live on Facebook and podcasting at the same time. Would never happen. And what happened is that Facebook looked at the competition and said, "Hey, how do we play with these big players? How do we get into this competition with, with the YouTubes and the Periscopes and the Instagrams, even though they own them?" But you get what I'm saying. And so you gotta see what people are doing and see if you can one up them. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with coming up with something like a one up. And not even say anything about it to your competition. Just be like, "Yep, we just one upped you," and then you promote what you are doing, like your version of it, like your whatever is better. Does that sort of make sense? Like for Boulder Media Solutions, my digital agency, you can hire any digital agency out there, okay? But here's the thing, guys. For us, what makes us unique and different is we're boutique. Okay, we're very selective of who we want to work with. We want to work and partner. Okay, we don't want to take people's money. We want to partner with a company, all right, or an individual that wants to grow their business, be bold about their brand, be different. Do you see what's going on? Like, I'm looking for a specific type. And now, are there other agencies that do something like that? Yeah, probably. But what I can tell you right now is that I'm not just looking to just slap your ad up on Facebook and just call it good. I'm looking to put a strategy to grow your business. Do you see what's happening? So the thing is that like our business approach is unique, to other competitors out there. And so you want to find a way to one up your thing, and then you carve out what you're good at, and you work on that. All right. Next thing I want to cover is document what you find so you can reference from it, reference from it if necessary. Let me rephrase that. I have it written down. It says, document what you find so you can reference from it if necessary. So, and you don't have to write down what people say. Like what I would or do or market or sales process or what the competition is doing, just store it in the back of your head and just kind of know like, oh yeah, I've heard about that before. But understand that your competition has a way of doing it and reference to it and see if like, am I kind of being like them? But that's not our brand. That's not what we do. We need to start making a cultural shift or a strategic shift on how we focus our business. Does that make sense? So you might want to learn, and I have written right here, you might learn you are the only company in town that offers X. And so here's a great example is that, like in my old business, I was running a martial arts studio, and we also ran a personal training and fitness studio. So at the time, this was 2015, we started running 6-week transformation challenges. And we were, I would say, the only, if not one of the only, fitness studios in town running 6-week transformation challenges. And we were charging top dollar for it. We were getting lots of people signed up. Like the first time we got like 35 people, 37 people. The second time we had like 25 people. It was pretty cool. Anyways, getting back to this is that, we noticed what the competition was doing, and they weren't doing what we were doing. We were offering, a different type of service that not a lot of people were doing and offering and stuff like that. And so, with that said, what happens is that when you kind of reference what your competition is doing, you can then start thinking about how you want to approach your business as far as offers, as far as like add-ons, or as far as like stacking value upon your stuff. So like if you have just I'm just going to say maybe like a regular business or whatever, like a local business in your community. Let's say you're a landscaping company, right? And everyone in the landscaping company, has rocks and sand and all this other stuff. But they charge you for delivery, let's just say, right? Maybe you don't charge for delivery and you slightly increase your prices, your margins everywhere else to cover the cost of delivery. Or better yet, you leave your prices the same and you absorb the cost of the delivery, okay? And you say that, we're giving you a $250 value free delivery because we love our community, whatever, right? You find out that you're the only one doing that. What's going to happen is that people will start copying you, and they're like, well, wow, I can't believe they're doing that. Or they'll start shifting their game, and so that means that you're a leader, okay? And that means that competitors are now watching what you do. You see what's going on? But that way, if you can see what your competitors are doing and you find ways on how to improve upon it, you can start finding and seeing like, we do have this one aspect, this one thing that is more valuable than everybody else, what they offer. And that's what you do, okay? You should also see how your business grows over time in reference to your research. And I actually did this with mine is I would watch what my business was doing over time, year over year, how much we were generating gross, what I was taking home as far as net profits and all this other stuff. And then from there, I would reference, our student base and kind of have an idea of where we are. And I would kind of just see what we were doing growth wise year over year. And we'd always grow year over year in my company. This helped me to kind of have an idea of where I'm at. And then I would talk to, I wouldn't say my direct competitors, but I would talk to other business owners in the same industry, in the same niche, and ask them how things were going. How was their student count? What was their attrition? What was their, sales for these past 3 months or 6 months or the last year, whatever. And I still have a friend. His name is Scott. He runs a studio down in Lakewood. And we would talk to each other, once every 2, 3, 4 weeks, sometimes every 6 weeks, just to, catch up, see how things were going on, bounce ideas off. And we were far enough to where, like, we were not even remotely close to being competition, but we were in the same state, and we saw trends in our business, and we would see how we were doing. And like, that's crazy. Like, though I was slightly below on student count and gross revenue, we were enrolling the same amount of people at the time. We were like losing the same amount of people. Like, we would have like the same percentages of drops and growths and stuff like that. And it was cool because it allowed me to almost say, okay, all right, like these guys are doing pretty well. I have an understanding where I'm at. Like, it's not that bad. Because I would always come out and be like, oh, we're doing horrible. And then you would have someone, to talk to, and again, not competition, but it is a competitor, and you would see where you stood. So I know there are some people that talk to their competition, their competitors. I'm not going to say on a regular basis. They have some sort of relationship, if you will. They either talk to them, they have lunch or whatever. I don't see anything wrong with that to a degree. I personally, I won't do that. But what I will do is I'm happy to be transparent about my business with another business that is in the same niche, that we're probably not necessarily like going after the same business, if that makes sense, to just kind of chat and see where you're at. This gives you a reference point. And so there's nothing wrong, guys, with learning and watching your competition. I mean, I look at business as sports now, and I'll probably, as this show evolves, as Boulder Media Radio evolves, this is only our second episode, but as it evolves, what I kind of see this happening is that I love sports, and right now the World Cup is going on, and I'm not watching the game. Right now Sweden is up 1-0 over Denmark, and I'm not watching the game because I had priority on doing the show. And so I do a lot of sports references and whatnot. Every top team, okay, is getting watched by their competition. And some people are going to try to mimic, some people are going to try and duplicate exactly what they're doing, while others are going to try to innovate what they're doing. And so I look at like, Bill Walsh, for instance, the head football coach for San Francisco 49ers back in the 80s, and I think early 90s as well, too. And he came out with a West Coast offense. And the West Coast offense is now still an offense that people run, but it's been very, very, very modified, okay? But now people say it's like a West Coast style offense. And there's been so many different versions of the West Coast offense, from either people that were like an apprentice, if you will, from Bill Walsh, to people that were the competition. Like, they were competing against him. They're like, how do we beat this guy's offense? Like, we can't stop Jerry Rice. We can't. And that was a time when running the ball was the way to do it. And the reason they were able to beat everybody is because everyone's defense was designed to stop the run, and they used essentially Jerry Rice as their running back doing short passes, and he was getting 10, 15, 20 yards on dinks and dunks and stuff like that, and they couldn't stop it. And then the defenses started changing. Do you see what's going on? So like a defense would start evolving, and like we need to adjust to this. And so business is no different, guys, and that's why it's important to see what the competition is doing, but at the same time, don't feel like you have to do what they are doing. Like, you just got to understand that the competition is there. It's always going to be there. I mean, I know that, like, Grant Cardone says that competition is bad and that you don't need it. And I agree to a degree, but, and I'm paraphrasing him, okay? So don't quote me on this. Like, I've read some of his books, and it's a paraphrase. But I think to a degree competition is good, and I like it. You just want to be the best of the competition. Does that make sense? And what that does is that it keeps you sharp. It keeps you honest. And that's the thing about business, is keeping yourself honest. Not necessarily like honest, like telling the truth, Honest as running an honest business, like giving value to the consumer, servicing the consumer, making sure you're taking care of your people, being good to your employees. Like, do you see what's going on? Like, being honest in those ways. And so that's how I see competition as well too, is that it keeps your brand and it keeps you being honest. And so so can you learn from your competitors, and should you watch what they're doing? I'd say so. But and there's a little asterisk there, and there's a big but don't sit there and pay attention to them every day. All right. There's a new feature that Facebook came out with, I think, on Thursday. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold that our entire family got wiped out last week, and I'm like congested. I probably sound kind of funny. Anyways, what was I saying? I totally spaced it. I had it right here, and I was going to go into it, and I totally spaced it. Sorry, guys. So that's is competition bad? That was it. Should we be watching our competition? So, to a degree, you should be seeing what they're doing, watching what they do, but you shouldn't be focused on them. And so Facebook came out with this new feature, and I feel like what people started doing was like spying on everybody. And this new feature is not necessarily a feature; it's just Facebook's way of creating transparency in the business world to their end user, watching these videos and stuff. And so, can you use the feature that Facebook came out as a point of leverage to outperform your competitors? You totally can. You can also be unethical about it and copy what they do, which I do not recommend. But what I do, recommend. Hey, what's up, Anthony and Samantha? What I do recommend though is that you just watch what they're doing, have an idea, and help it shape your company's identity, your company's mission, your company's values, your company's vision, all those things. And then you create you, And so that's how I look at it. It's actually not bad. It's not bad to kind of see what they're doing. So, anyways, I'm going to wrap up for our second episode of Boulder Media Radio. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a happy 4th of July. I think today my family and I are going to go to, our realtor's house or community or something. That they have like a big giant like water slide that they rented. I don't know, it's craziness. And it's just super hot out here in Colorado. So if you guys don't know, we're located in Boulder. Boulder. Our company's called Boulder Media Radio, but we're located in Colorado. I went to school in Boulder, and we're going to have a great time. So 4th of July, I think what we're going to be doing is, like in our community, there is a like this big like water. I'm not gonna say a water fight, but kind of is. Like, it's like a water parade, and they have like water balloons, and we like throw water at each other. And like this is kind of new to us because we're new to the community, and so we're pretty excited about this actually. So it's gonna be like 100 degrees tomorrow in Colorado. Like the entire nation is like scorching hot, and it's July, and that's kind of scary. So I hope that you guys have a powerful and wonderful Tuesday. Have a safe 4th of July. Thank you for you guys that have chimed in. If you guys are watching, give me some thumbs up, some hearts, whatever. Your comments and you watching and you giving us thumbs up, it actually helps us get our live video more visible to everybody else. And it just helps just kind of publishing my my content that we have here. At the end of the day, I want to just deliver as much value as possible to all of you guys. So have a powerful, powerful day. Have a safe 4th of July, and I'll talk to you guys soon.